Photographed a lot of weddings, and after a while, you start noticing patterns, not just with the photos, but also with people, with stress, with timelines, with the things that couples worry about before the wedding, and the things they actually care about after it's over. So, today, I want to talk about a few lessons I've learned from real weddings because if you're planning your first wedding right now, this might save you from stressing over the wrong stuff. Hey, I'm Stephen Barnett, and I'm a wedding photographer in Pennsylvania. I photograph weddings throughout central PA, including Harrisburg, Hershey, Lancaster, York. Let's see what else is there. Oh, there's Gettysburg and the general surrounding areas. Today, I want to talk about some lessons I've learned from photographing weddings. So, when you're planning your first wedding, it can be a little stressful. Everything can feel, important. The colors are important. The centerpieces feel important. The timeline feels important. The guest list feels like the most important thing of all. The seating chart feels like it was designed by someone who wanted to ruin your entire life. And listen, some of that stuff does matter. I'm not saying details are pointless. I love thoughtful detail. I love a good reception setup, and I love when a wedding feels like the couple actually made choices that fit them. But after photographing weddings for years, I can tell you this. Not everything deserves the same amount of stress. Some things matter a lot. Some things feel huge beforehand and then barely matter once the day starts. So let's talk about what I've actually seen. The first lesson is this. Your wedding day will move faster than you think possible. I know everyone says that, but I don't think couples fully believe it until it happens. You spend months, maybe years planning, and you think through all these decisions, you make all these choices, then the wedding day finally arrives, and it feels like someone's pressed fast forward. 1 minute you're getting ready, then you're walking down the aisle, and then you're hugging people. Then it's dinner, and then someone's handing you cake, and then all of a sudden the DJ is announcing that this is the last song. It goes fast. That's why I'm always encouraging couples to build space into the day, not empty time, but breathing room. Time to be with your people. Time to take a few portraits without feeling chased. Time to sit down and eat. Time to look around and actually notice the room you spent months planning, because a packed timeline might look efficient on paper, but a wedding day is not a spreadsheet, my friend. It's a day you're supposed to live. The second lesson is that family photos matter more over time. I know family photos can feel like the least glamorous part of the day. No one usually says, I can't wait to stand in line and smile with 12 combinations of relatives. I get it. But those photos matter a lot, because the people in those photos are not always going to be in the same room again. That's just the truth. Life changes. Families change. People can move, people age, people pass away. And those simple photos, the ones that might feel boring in the moment, can become some of the most important images from the entire day. That's why I take family photo lists seriously. That's why I want couples to think through who matters most, not because we need to photograph every person you've ever met. Please don't do that to yourself, but because the right family photos are worth protecting. The third lesson is that a calm couple changes the whole energy of the wedding. I've seen weddings where things went exactly according to plan, but the couple was still stressed the entire day. I've also seen weddings where little things changed, weather got weird, timeline shifted, but the couple still had an incredible time because they didn't let every tiny thing steal their attention. Energy matters. The couple sets a lot of the tone. If you're tense, people will feel it. If you're relaxed, people will feel that too. And no, I'm not saying you need to force yourself to be calm every second. It's not realistic. You're allowed to feel nervous. You're allowed to feel emotional. You're allowed to need a minute. But one of the best things you can do is surround yourself with vendors who help carry the stress instead of adding to it. A good vendor team makes a massive difference. Your planner, your venue, your DJ, your photographer, hi, your hair and makeup team, your caterer, all of it matters. You want people who can solve problems without making every little thing your problem. The fourth lesson is that your guests care more about how the day feels than how perfect it looks. And this is a big one. Social media has trained couples to think every wedding needs to look like a styled editorial shoot. And I get it. The photos are pretty, the tables are perfect, and the florals are massive. The lighting is dreamy, right? The bride appears to have never experienced humidity in her life, but your guests are not walking into your wedding with a clipboard. They're not grading your napkins. They're not measuring whether your sign matches the invitation. They want to feel welcomed. They want to celebrate you. They want to eat. They want to laugh. They want to dance. And hopefully, they want to see you happy. That doesn't mean details don't matter. It just means that details should support the experience, not become the whole point. The fifth lesson is that your favorite photos might not be the photos you expected. Couples usually think their favorite photos would be the big ones, the ceremony kiss, the couple portraits, the first dance, and sometimes they are. But a lot of times, the photos people really connect with are quieter. A parent watching from across the room, a grandparent holding your hand, your friends laughing while you're getting ready, your partner looking at you when you don't even know what's happening, a messy dance floor photo that feels exactly like your people. Those are the images that sneak up on you. That's why I photograph more than just the obvious stuff. Of course, I'm going to get the big moments. That's my job, hands down. But I'm also watching the edges of the room. I'm watching reactions. I'm watching people who love you. I'm looking for the little pieces of the day that might be easy to miss while you're living it. The sixth lesson is that I'm trying to make everyone happy will wear you out. Your wedding is not a customer service department. You can care about your guests without letting every opinion control the day. Someone might not like the menu. Someone might think the ceremony is too early. Someone might have thoughts about your guest list. Someone might be weird about where they're sitting. Someone might think you should do a tradition you don't even care about. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're planning a wedding with humans involved, and humans can be spicy. The goal is to not make every single person happy. The goal is to make a thoughtful decision that fits you and your fiance. Because when the wedding is over, you're the ones who need to feel good about how the day felt. The seventh lesson is that comfort matters in photos a lot. Most couples tell me some version of, "Oh, we're awkward. We don't know how to pose. We hate being in front of the camera." But every time, I want to say, great, you're normal. Welcome to the club. You're not supposed to know how to pose. You're not supposed to know where to put your hands. You're not supposed to magically become a professional model because you're wearing wedding clothes. That's my job. My job is to guide you enough so you don't feel lost, but not so much that the whole day feels stiff. The best wedding photos usually happen when couples feel safe enough to be themselves, not perfect, not overly posed, just comfortable. That's what I'm trying to create. The eighth lesson here is that the venue affects more than the background. This is something couples don't always realize at first, but your venue affects your timeline, your rain plan, your getting ready experience, your portraits, your guest flow, your reception energy, and how easy or stressful the day feels. A pretty venue is great. I love pretty, but pretty alone is not enough. You need to know how the day works there. Where do you get ready? What happens if it does rain? Where do family photos happen? Where does the cocktail hour go? How easy is it for guests to move around? Where is the good light? What is actually included and what does that cost? These questions matter because the venue can either support the wedding day or quietly make everything harder. The ninth lesson is that small pauses can become some of the best parts of the day. A few minutes alone after the ceremony, a private vow reading, a quick sunset portrait break, sitting together for dinner, taking one lap around the reception and noticing everyone who came to celebrate with you. These pauses matter. You don't need a wedding day that feels packed from start to finish. You need moments where you can actually take it in. The 10th lesson is that wedding photos become more valuable with time. On the wedding day, you're excited to see them. A few months later, you're reliving the day. Years later, they become part of your family's history. People in the photos matter. The way the day felt matters. The things you forgot happened matter. And that's why I care so much about photographing the full story of the day. Not just the parts that look good on the highlight reel, but the day itself, the people, the little reactions, the quiet stuff. Sometimes the loud stuff, the slightly chaotic stuff, the stuff that makes the wedding feel like yours. So, if you're planning a wedding right now, here's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to stress equally about everything. Protect the things that matter. Build breathing room into your timeline. Take the family photos. Choose vendors you trust. Ask better venue questions. Give yourself permission to enjoy the day. And don't let social media convince you that your wedding has to look like everyone else's. Your wedding should feel like something you're glad that you lived through, not something you barely survived. If you're planning a wedding in Pennsylvania and you want a photographer who helps you feel comfortable, prepared, and taken care of through the entire day, I would love to talk with you. Head to my website. Send me an inquiry. Call me, text me, beat me if you want to reach me. Tell me what you're planning. I'd love to hear your story and help you think through a wedding day that actually feels good to live. All right. See you next time.